Welcome to the Phoenix Prosperity Podcast, where wealth meets legacy. Join your host, Tim Fergestad, as we explore the journeys of Phoenix's finest to success and beyond.
All right. Hello, this is Tim Fergestad. Thank you for joining us. Today I'm joined by Justin Tash, co-founder of BTL Family Law. Justin and his partners started the firm with 4 people, a co-working space, 10 grand and a credit card, and grew it into a 7-figure family law practice serving Phoenix metro area. And today he's going to be also sharing how to share what he's learned with people through his Growth Pilot OS system. Welcome to the show, Justin.
Hey, thanks for having me, Tim.
All right. Why don't we start with the Growth Pilot OS, and then we can fill in why and how you developed it.
Sure. Yeah. So I developed a Growth Pilot operating system, and what it does is it teaches early stage entrepreneurs the fundamental habits they need to be able to move through the next stages of growth of their business.
Is this law specific or all businesses?
No, it's really all businesses.
Okay.
It tends to work best with maybe service level industries.
Okay.
And I mean that's where my experience is, so that's where it really lends its most help. But all businesses. When I was growing BTL, I learned from all businesses, all different service businesses when I was growing my family law firm. When we started out, we didn't have a lot of resources, and I found that trying to educate myself on growing a law firm was much more expensive than just any other professional service industry. So I spent a lot of time researching other professional service industries and mirrored those.
I imagine it's a little bit like in biomedical field and others. They teach you a lot of technical information. They teach you a lot of law in law school, but they don't teach you how to run a business. And so you got to figure a lot of that out on your own.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. No, they don't teach us how to run a business in law school. There was a couple modulars that I took that, it gave us a little bit of insight, but they don't really teach you the ins and outs of it. Fortunately, prior to school, I had run a couple businesses, and I had some experience in it. But it was a completely different game when I came out. What
were some of the biggest challenges, or maybe the earliest challenges that you needed, the things that Growth Pilot OS teaches to get a functional practice?
Sure. Yeah. Some of the earliest challenges are staying consistent in the boring stuff. Doing the follow-ups and things like that, and hitting the small incremental things that in the long run build up and compound over time, and not allowing yourself to get distracted by the new flashy object. Maybe it's a marketing thing, or as business owners, I'm sure everyone gets a ton of emails every single day about a new marketing tool that's available, and I need to invest all my money into it, and it's guaranteed to get me a bunch of new clients. Most of the time those don't work out in my experience, but staying consistent over time, building a quality brand, and hitting your daily activities really is what gets you to the next level in business.
Okay. Do you have a story, or when maybe you realized that practicing law and running a law firm were different skill sets?
Yeah, absolutely. So I had my 2 partners that I started this firm with, and we quickly learned that whenever I would start, I'm solely responsible for business development here in my office, and we quickly found when I was practicing and running the firm, whenever my caseload would get busy, the firm would stop growing, because inherently
you're working in the business, not on the business.
I have to make sure my clients are being taken care of, and there's only so many hours in the day, so the growth of the firm stalled. Eventually we made the shift to where I only was responsible for the growth and development of the business, and I stopped taking on clients myself. So really I shifted from an attorney who owns a law firm to a CEO who happens to be an attorney.
Okay. I imagine a big part of that is delegating properly, right? Hiring it's a bottleneck for most people. That's something I've struggled with. But it's absolutely paramount, I imagine, in my opinion, in my experience. How about you? What can you speak to that?
Absolutely. Hiring is in every business I've ever come across is one of the most challenging um, things to encounter. We've been very fortunate with some of my coworkers here, and they're great. One of the biggest things that I've ever learned is, you know, every every business development book teaches you systemize, 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 systemize. In a professional service industry, particularly like um, this isn't McDonald's. It's not a one size fits all everything. Rather, instead of step by step instructions for people, let the professionals do their job. One, give them the freedom and flexibility to do their job well, and all you're really doing is providing guidance. This is what our product overall should look like. This is your flexibility to move inside that, and you're free to go from there. Trying to give particularly professionals, it really it kind of hamstrings them, and
Sure.
it breeds discontent really too in the relationship. And you're really about protecting these relationships. Everyone that's come into my office, I've said basically I work for them. I'm here to make sure that they're enjoying the office space as much as I can. It's still a business and we have to run it in a way that makes sense. But and we have a brand that we protect, but I'm here to make sure that they have what they need to do their job well.
Okay, right. And sticking with the hiring topic for a second, what matters more in this current time? Is it technical ability? Is it experience, personality, or cultural fit?
For us, it's cultural fit. And then in the overall, if I'm going to have to couch this in more specifically the practice of law, but
Right.
in our experience right now, especially with the age of AI and everything like that, where attorneys used to be the gatekeepers of information,
Hmm.
and you had to come to us to know, otherwise because you wouldn't know where to find the information. Well, that's slowly not being the case anymore. But what we still have the gatekeepers of information is the experience that we have in the courtrooms, and that's really what you pay an attorney for. Is you pay an attorney for their experience and what they've seen throughout their practice and how courts actually handle these cases. Speaking specifically from family law, anyone can read a statute. They're available, and you can get in I mean, I don't recommend getting in an LLM and using them for your family law case by any means, because I've seen them be just terribly wrong, and cause a lot of problems for people. But really, you're not paying for the information that's a statute provided. You're
Right.
paying for the attorney's experience and how to get you through these cases.
Right. And on that note, it's something that took me a long time to figure out, and I think family law is probably similar, is it's interpreting it's interpreting the facts and what's written and how it applies to this particular situation. Everything is always unique. And um, I used to think contract. I'm a scientist. I'm analytical. I want everything black and white, and
Mhm.
that's why one thing I struggled with the law was it's very much um, uh, how you paint it. Right, there's shades of gray, and interpretation and how you frame things and stuff is everything.
Absolutely. How you frame them, how you present them, how it's presented to specific judges, and their backstories matter. And it's particularly family law. It's not black and white by any means. There's a lot of what's called discretion, and you're really looking at I mean, take what is commonly referred to as custody here in Arizona. You're
Right,
looking at what's in the best interest of the kids. Now, there's a bunch of factors that go into that, and what is in the best interest of the kids. There's some guidance, but really, you're presenting your case to the court as to what you think the best interests of the kids are.
right,
Now, that's heavily where the attorney's experience is going to come into play. based on how they see judges rule in similar fact patterns. Now, not every case is the same, but similar situations occur.
Right, right. Family law clients are often going through, some of the most stressful periods of their lives. How do you build systems and efficiency without making that experience feel transactional?
So we, as opposed to a front end
Well, then again, if
client
it, if
facing,
it, if it's a
yeah,
successful transaction, maybe that's okay.
sure. So the best way to do it is create systems that remove bottlenecks and frustration where you can. You don't want it to seem transactional, but you also don't want clients getting frustrated at various stages of representation for no reason. They're already going through enough stress. So let the soft skills, be still handled by the lead attorney or whoever their lead contact is at the office. Let all that continue to free flow. But remove the bottlenecks and the frustration in simple things like getting documents to you. Now we have some systems, they don't work out for everybody. And so we're flexible in them. Getting financial documents is an example. Most people are fine uploading their financial statements to a cloud link, and that works out fine. Other people, it doesn't work out very well for them. They get, frustrated. So we're happy to take the paper documents if that's what makes it easier on them. So
Right.
really, it's remove the frustration where you can. Simple things like scheduling appointments, um, getting a hold of your counsel, little things like that. Those can all be systematized to remove frustration and aggravation, but leave all the interpersonal relationship stuff. It's a very emotional area of law, and you need that personal connection.
Sure, sure. What systems or processes had the biggest impact on your growth?
In our office, the probably the intake process. Um, where it's pretty nailed down to I do the intake calls right now to make sure that everyone is, we're not wasting their time in a case that we're not gonna be able to help them with.
Okay.
And that frees up to make sure that the leads are more qualified for the leads in the office too.
Okay.
And we're also not having someone come in when we know we can't take that case. For example,
Sure.
if a hearing is set next week, I know that I don't have anybody available for it, then I'm not going to have them come in. I'm going to say, oh, here's a list of other, 4 other referrals, see if one of these people can help you. Um, and then moving on to our actual consultations with the leads, that is to develop that relationship with the attorney. The attorney-client relationship is extremely important. And so again, leaving that soft skill in person, it's sometimes it's over the phone, depending on where the people are. We're in Scottsdale. If you're in the Northwest Valley, it might be difficult for you to get to our office, given whatever is happening in your life. So we do virtual over the phone, but it needs to be some kind of communication that creates that relationship.
Okay. Okay. Now, when did you launch Growth Pilot operating system?
I built it originally in November, and I launched it officially probably in May. I built it myself, so there's a kind of a learning curve with that. But probably officially launched in May, and
Okay.
I've been
Unlike
building up.
unlike for people, let's back up a second again for our listeners who may or may not know, there are different types of programs or models for running a business. Pinnacle or EOS, entrepreneurial operating system. There's different, and some are better than others depending upon what you do. And you're
Mhm.
familiar with all these, and so
Yeah.
you ended up making your own custom one.
Yeah, I made a custom one based on my experience on what I believe are the core fundamentals that people need to learn quickly. And when you read all those books, you kind of do and review all those different operating systems, you start to realize that they're all kind of the same things, just said differently.
Mhm.
And so I took that in addition to I've been very fortunate in my education and I have been able to engage executive coaches. I've been able to participate in high level mastermind groups. I've learned a lot throughout building BTL over the last 9 years that I remember sitting across the table from a business coach when we first opened our practice, needing help, and then wanting more than my entire salary was that month. I couldn't afford anything like that. So and ultimately, I was able to engage some of these people, and I learned a lot down that road. And I do think eventually people should be getting involved in these mastermind groups and engaging one-on-one coaching services. But my platform gets you to that level where you can actually do it. And also, you'll have a head start because you already have the fundamentals nailed down. Uh,
Okay. Now, I think it's also unique that you have your own software for it. Is that right?
mhm.
Okay. Can you speak to what? Because usually, I mean, from my experience, these used to be all just paper uh, org charts and things like that, where you're trying to assign roles and stuff. I imagine having it in a shared that centralized database or website or something where everyone can see it and play with it and figure out, is that how it works? I can imagine that could be very useful, but
Yeah. So how it
share
works
the
is,
vision.
yeah, it's in a web-based app. So it works very well as an application on your phone, and also, of course, you can access it through an internet browser. But my idea, my goal is to meet people where they're at and get them the information that's easy for them. Again, kind of removing bottlenecks and frustrations, right? Get them the information in a way that they want to consume it. We're used to short videos. We're used to, now with AI, very brief summaries of things. So it's you come on, you create your account, and then you walk through a short intake. The intake is really getting at what you do, why you do it, what time constraints you have. A lot of people are building businesses outside family and full-time jobs. For example, I run BTL full-time and I'm building this kind of on the side. I'm in the same position that a lot of other people are in with it. What your time constraints are, and then and what is currently moving the needle for you right now? What's working right now? What can you lean into further? And then it takes that, it runs it through an AI, and it helps you create a bigger plan of a 30-day executable um, program. Um,
Okay.
and then you commit to that program, and then it loads up. Each day you have daily activities to hit based on what's working for you now, and then some suggestions from the AI. And then you work through that program for 30 days. What the real key piece of it is, though, is some of the biggest uh, growth in my business I found from external accountability. And
Right.
that's where a lot of these other platforms fall short. Now, if you don't log in and log your KPIs, execute some items, stay consistently active, then for one day you get an email, 2 days you get a text message. On that third day, you get a phone call from the app, and it checks in with you. It says, "Where are you at? How can we get back on track? What are you doing? How can we help you keep moving forward, keep that needle moving forward?" Because again, building that daily consistency of you have a plan, execute the plan is one of the biggest growth factors.
Right. There's all sorts of ways I can imagine hacking that further too, is have your account set up automatically to donate to something you don't want to donate to if you don't log your KPIs, things like that, which a negative version or stuff can be fun too. Um,
I have a lot of tracking built on the back end so I can see how people are using it, where they're getting stuck, and what else could help. So maybe some sort of, carrot and stick situation like that would be
right.
would be helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. So any business basically whatsoever, I think what is incredibly valuable is that initial clarity, right? And structuring and defining roles and getting a roadmap, like you said. And then obviously reverse engineering the action items to get there. But super, super important for people who are starting off. They don't know what they don't know.
Mhm. And another feature of my app, it's there is a chat bot, not well, a chat window in there, but it's not the same as any other LLM. Yeah, it does run off an LLM, but it is designed to be Socratic. And another thing people need to learn is really to trust their own instincts. Um, Research, learn, and then but take that and trust your own instincts. Learn how to solve problems, learn how to think critically, and learn how to ask better questions and tell better stories. So when you put when you ask a question to that chatbot, it's not going to just kick you out an answer. If you want some self-serving answer, then just go to chat or Claude or
Right.
whatever. And do that. But this is going to help you reframe the question,
Right.
help you come up with three possible solutions. Why would you pick this? Why would you pick that? And it has, it's teaching you to be confident in yourself. You know your business better than anybody else does. You
But
truly
it's
do.
forcing you to dig deeper, which
Yeah,
is good.
yeah. It's again, I'm building the skills for people to graduate beyond this tool.
Excellent. Excellent. You built this in Phoenix, which has been grown tremendously, right, over the last decade.
Yeah.
How has building a business in the Valley influenced Growth Pilot and BTL's trajectory?
Um, Here in Phoenix, it is like you mentioned, it's a wildly growing city, and there's industry in any direction you look. There's I could go
There's
get involved
quality
in
job
any
growth, which is what
right.
excites me as a real estate
Yeah.
investor.
There's any direction you look, there is significant growth in really any industry that you look at. And I built this in a way that I believe most early stage entrepreneurs, solopreneurs can benefit from it, and it can serve a wide net like that. I'm not sure it's right for it gets into the nuances of maybe a retail store or anything like that because I don't know anything about it. And outside of execution, marketing and things like that. But having so many opportunities here in the valley is what really helped frame. I wanted to reach everybody, kind of an idea.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you have an impact with families regularly in your practice, but now you can also help entrepreneurs and have a different level of impact locally as well.
Yeah. Yep. And I've been working with some people and seeing how their businesses are growing, where I think they could help, and then again, reinfusing that into the tool. I've spent a
Okay.
lot of time around early stage entrepreneurs. I've seen some succeed and I've seen some stay stuck. And trying to get over that, what helps this person succeed? Why does this person stay stuck? Again, all built
Right.
into the app.
Okay. Have you hosted any sort of events or educational things, seminars or anything like that to sort of help introduce it and promote it to people?
Not
Give them
yet, no,
an
but
initial level glimpse at what how you can help them.
no, not yet. But that's a fantastic idea. We'd be happy to do that.
Okay, excellent. Well, Justin, looking back now, what would you have done differently when you launched your firm?
Oh man. Um, uh, One, stay focused, don't get distracted. Um, and uh, I can, particularly in marketing, I can think of like we've wasted a ton of money on stuff that didn't work, and or they brought in the wrong kind of client or things like that. So I think one, developing that client avatar immediately. Who do we want to work with?
Right.
And then focusing on that person immediately. Now, we were fortunate enough to kind of do it fairly quickly. But when you're starting a business, you're nervous. You don't want to just focus in on one person because you need to pay bills. And
Right.
but the sooner you do that, I think the sooner that you really see some growth. It doesn't only it's not only that they're good people to work with. They're more aligned with, for example, they're more aligned with our practice philosophy. And that means leads to better outcomes, better relationships, better reviews. You're meeting expectations. When you're misaligned with your client, then inherently there's going to be friction.
Right. Okay. Justin, if people would like to connect with you and learn more about your practice or the Growth Pilot operating system, where can they go? What should they do?
Sure. If you want to learn more about our practice, we're at btlfamilylaw.com. We have a lot of content on there. If you want to learn more about Growth Pilot and some of my philosophies built into Growth Pilot, you can check me out on Instagram, Justin__ Tash, and that's where I post content based on my philosophies behind Growth Pilot. And then, of course, Growth Pilot is growthpilotos.ai.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, everyone, for listening and watching. Very much appreciate Justin Tash sharing your journey and your new program. So that's awesome. And wish you all the best here in Phoenix.
All right. Thank you so much.
Inspired by our guests? Visit PhoenixProsperityPodcast.com/guest and join us on the show and share your success story with Tim. The spotlight awaits.